everyone. Yes, you were just looking at a frame containing several arrowheads. Those arrowheads are ones that my grandpa found throughout his life as he farmed the land. Been thinking about him a lot lately. In fact, if you look and you see that little tiny dot of silver, it's actually his boat that he used to use fishing. And why have I been thinking about my grandpa a lot lately? My mom shared a story recently about how my grandpa helped a gentleman that came to his door. I don't think he necessarily knew the gentleman at the time or knew him well, but he helped him find a home for him and his family. And the home that he actually helped him find was one that my great-grandparents had lived in. And what my grandpa noticed about this gentleman, but never pointed it out, was that the gentleman's shoes, if you could even call them that, were tied to his feet to try to keep something in place because they were so full of holes. And the same gentleman he helped was as kind and humble as my grandpa. And the home that they moved into that I mentioned was my great-grandparents. My mom shared another story that was passed on to her from her aunt of how during the Depression, a man that was homeless came to my great-grandparents' door, and my great-grandma, who was feeding a family of 5, barely feeding a family of 5, gave this gentleman a meal. Stranger she didn't know. And I think about these arrowheads, and not just because my grandpa found them, but I think about what they symbolize. The Native Americans that walked the land my grandpa was farming, used these as tools for hunting, maybe cooking in some way. Multitude of ways they might have used these arrowheads. And I think it's really easy to be nostalgic and to say, oh, that was a time when life was simpler, or a time when people were kinder. And recently, I was in the store, and I was standing in line, and there was a couple in front of me who had just got done putting all their groceries on the grocery belt. And one of their items was not on the belt. And sensitive to how people are feeling right now, I asked her if I could reach out and move that on the belt so that she wouldn't lose it. And with a combination of great fear and gratitude, she told me no thank you, and then she went and proceeded to move it onto the belt, but thanked me for letting her know. And for a moment I was sad that we have come to a place where we are so afraid of each other. Now, I could have been somebody that, thought in my mind, the very item she didn't want me to touch has probably been touched by many on the shelves. But in that moment, the only space I wanted to hold was compassion and non-judgment. And this event was just a day after I was on the trail where the girls, as I like to call our dogs, and I go for our run, in which we encountered a gentleman so full of rage, the kind of rage that I think we watch on social media or watch on the news, where people's rage and frustration is pouring through. And when you listen closer, as I did to this gentleman, he was so afraid of my 2 dogs because his wife had been hospitalized from a really bad encounter with a dog at some point. And as scared as I was of his rage, as scared as I was for our girls, I was able to hold compassion by listening to what was prompting that rage and listening to that fear, and just hold a space of compassion and understanding as the girls and I got safely away. I spend so much time thinking that what the world needs is hope. I also think the world needs compassion and understanding, because I think there is a lot of people in spirit who are like those gentlemen that came to my grandpa's door and my great-grandma's door, who just need someone to see them as human beings, to not look at what they are not or what they don't have, without judgment and with full compassion, to lend a helping hand, even if it's as simple as asking if you can move someone's item on the grocery belt so that they can go home with it, respecting their space. A very simple, kind gesture that holds a very large wish that the fear can go away and be replaced by a connection to humanity from the heart. Namaste.